Hi everybody, I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin giving you an update on tonight's severe weather potential, which is starting to increase now as we get into the overnight hours. As promised, as we talked about over the weekend, this was not going to be an event during the daylight hours. We were mainly dry across the area today. We just had a couple showers. It's now that we get into the overnight that we are talking about a severe threat, which is a little contrary to what some of us may think of when we think of severe thunderstorms. Typically, when we get thunderstorms, it's hot, it's sunny beforehand, and then these big storms come through and cool everything off. That's not the setup with this. We are getting back into our severe weather season, right? We've got a few seasons here in Southeast Texas. We're getting out of hurricane season now. And with these cold fronts coming into the area, that puts us back into our fall severe weather season. We all think of the springtime severe weather season, but we also have a fall severe weather season, and the principle is the same. It's just a changing and a clashing of air masses. So that's what we've got going out there today. So the red boxes on the map indicate tornado watches. So this tornado watch just went into effect here. This is now including Washington County. It includes Grimes County, and it includes Huntsville as well. So once you get up towards Walker County. So we do have our extreme northern counties included in this tornado watch. No warnings right now. Also notice nothing on radar, no thunderstorms. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in the yellow boxes here, the yellow shaded counties going back towards the north. But notice they're really starting to trim that back. Earlier today it included this area. Now they've trimmed it away because that line is moving so quickly now off towards the east. This line of storms is still developing. We expect as the evening goes on for that line to develop all the way down to about this point and then push towards the east. So San Antonio will likely get some storms. Austin along the I-35 corridor up towards Waco and Dallas will see storms, but we think that the core of the severe weather is going to be pretty much where that red shading is highlighted. So what's popping up right now is a severe thunderstorm warning here in the Hill Country just to the north of Austin here in Burnett County. That's in effect till 8 p.m. Central Time. It's 7:38 Central Time right now on Monday evening. So we're expecting that to kind of drop as these storms continue to push towards the east. But here's your line of storms. And again, what we're seeing well developed is pretty much along the line here from Kerrville all the way north towards Dallas. But we've got small cells developing to the south of that main line. And these will eventually kind of form, these will all form into a giant line as we go through the next few hours. So it's a pretty pronounced severe threat that we're dealing with, and it has a lot to do with a developing storm system across North Texas. So this is the area that we are going to be watching very carefully over the next few hours as this line pushes in that direction. So again, this line is moving at about highway speed from west to east, moving at about 50 miles per hour. So this line will eventually reach I-35 probably within the next hour or two. So I would say between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Central, we're expecting this line of storms to be crossing over I-35, places like Waco down to Austin. These areas will see it. Next up is going to be us here in Houston. So here are the severe threats that we're talking about: damaging winds and tornadoes. And we actually might have to increase the tornado threat here from low to maybe more low and medium, kind of in line with the damaging wind threat. We actually may even have to increase the damaging wind threat. And this is just based on nowcasting, right? We're not using computer models to make that kind of assumption. We're actually looking at the radar trends. And we're saying, well, the radar looks a certain way compared to what the models are saying. And the atmospheric conditions ahead of that line looks so good that we actually could see more of a pronounced threat than we had thought maybe earlier in the afternoon. So bottom line, a busy night coming up for us. It's really important, if you're watching this right now and you're going to bed within the next few hours, it's really important that you have a way to get warnings as we go through the overnight, warnings that will wake you up. So that way, if there's a tornado warning for your neighborhood and you're sleeping, you get woken up so you can go to a safe spot in your house, whether that's a basement or an interior room or a storm shelter. Just things to keep in mind here. It's something that we haven't talked about in several months, but we are now back into that season. So again, these are the watches that we've got posted currently. Severe thunderstorm watch well towards the north and west. Tornado watch, though, including, again, Washington, Grimes, and our northern county here as we get up towards the Huntsville area. So we are talking about Walker County that is included in this watch. Nothing for the Houston metro yet. Okay, so again, it's Walker, Grimes, and Washington counties for now. If this line continues to progress and continues to evolve, They may push that watch farther to the south, but this is where it stands right now. So our northern counties are included in this tornado watch. It goes until midnight. Just to give you an idea of how fast this line of storms is moving, again at about 60 miles per hour, this will be here and the tornado threat will be diminishing after midnight. So it's a little ahead of schedule from what we had. So let's take a look at future track. We start the clock at 7:30 and notice the model is not doing a great job with initializing these storms. It's actually a little more reserved from what's actually happening right now. So right now we've actually got a line of storms that extend and fill in this area that I've highlighted. Notice the model does not have that developed. So that plays into our forecasting, right? When we're forecasting these storms, we have to look at all of the tools in front of us and all of the data. Well, with computer simulations, if your data starting out isn't good, the output is going to be contaminated. It's not going to be quite as reliable as what you would hope for. So take this with a grain of salt. We're already seeing storms in that area that I highlighted. Let's fast forward this. Let's at least just use this for timing purposes. I think the model is running a little slow here. So notice by 11:30, this takes the line into those northern and western counties. So Washington County, Grimes County. What we're really focusing on, though, are bowing segments like this. And the reason for that is twofold. That's where you see a big push of wind. So that's where the straight line damaging wind threat comes into play. But that's also a spot where you can see a little circulation, so winds coming into that line, and that's where you get rotation, and that's where you could see potential tornado development. Again, take it with a grain of salt. This is not, we're not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen there in northern Grimes County, but what we're saying is those bends and those kinks in the line, that's what we look for severe potential when we make these forecasts. So that is something that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. So I would say anytime after 10 p.m., we've been saying that all evening long. Anytime after 10 p.m., that line starts to move into the northwest counties. By midnight, at the latest, I think the line is already into Houston. And it's a pretty dense line of storms. I know there's a lot going on here. We've got rain still from Huntsville to Brenham at this point. The severe part of this line, though, is the leading edge. That strip of darker red. That's what we're looking for with severe potential. All of this back here, that's just rain falling behind the main line. That leading edge is where you'll get the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. It's where we're going to get the potential for tornadoes. So that's going to be the feistiest part of these storms, that leading edge. So keep an eye on that. We keep fast forwarding this. I would say by 1 o'clock in the morning, this starts to reach Galveston Bay. And then as early as 2 a.m., we're already seeing that line, again, pushing towards the coast. So Galveston, you're seeing this around 2 o'clock in the morning at the latest. Places like Huntsville, Bryan, Brenham, Sealy, Katy, the Woodlands, Conroe, Spring, you're dry at this point. Houston, the showers are wrapping up for you. And then for everybody, as we get into Tuesday morning, the sun is up and the sun will be shining. So it'll almost be like nothing happened at all, and hopefully there is no damage. So what we're going to leave you with tonight, we'll do one more analysis on radar, but I got to tell you, if you have any Halloween decorations outside, take them in, because these are really strong winds that are associated with this line of storm. So they are going to knock this stuff all over the front yard. They're going to carry it down the street. It's going to be a mess to clean up tomorrow. So please, if you have the chance, either make sure that the Halloween decorations you've put outside are really secure, or just take them inside tonight and put them back outside tomorrow. Weather is going to be beautiful here as we get into the middle of the week. But again, 60 mile per hour winds at a minimum with this line of storms. Let's get back to radar quickly before we wrap this up. And we're going to be doing these updates through the evening, by the way, so you can always check back in here through the night. We've got the tornado watch in effect for Washington, Grimes, and Walker counties. That's until midnight. So again, we are watching our northern areas for the best potential right now, the best potential to see a tornado threat as this line approaches. We're dry out there. There's nothing on radar right now. The line is still back across the west. It's still to the west of I-35, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings active right now just to the north of Austin. There's Austin. There's the severe thunderstorm warning, probably about 40 or 50 miles to the north. We are about, let's see how far we are from this line. So we'll pause this radar image and we'll actually draw this out so you get an idea of how far away we are from this reaching our northwest counties. So about 120 miles. Figured the line's moving at 60 miles per hour. That's 2 hours, 9:45. So right as we get to the 10 o'clock newscast, we could be seeing that first line of storms move into Washington and Grimes counties, and that could come with a tornado threat as well. So KHOU 11 News at 10 will be going on the air tracking these storms as they come into southeast Texas. And hopefully they go through without any issues at all. Look, we don't want to be here all night tracking these storms. We're going to be, of course, but we don't want severe weather. We do need the rain, so hopefully we can get a quick ½ inch to an inch of rain. Unfortunately, these storms are moving so fast, though, I don't think the beneficial rain is going to be a big part of this story. So 120 miles away from this reaching the edge of our viewing area, from the actual city of Houston, this line is, let's see, about 200 miles away, so about 3.5 hours away from reaching us here in downtown Houston. So that's about, let's say, 11:30, 12 o'clock, so around midnight. I would say by midnight, you're probably going to start to see some lightning flashes in the distance from downtown Houston. That's if you're still awake. A lot of this goes through, though, as most of us are getting ready for bed or going to sleep. So if that's the case for you, if you're watching now, have a way to get warnings. We don't have any active warnings right now. We don't have anything on radar. This is still 200 miles back to our north and west, but that line, as it develops right now, we are starting to see warnings pop up. Let's take a look at the bigger picture quickly, just so we can talk about what's going on. It's a pretty interesting setup, and this is for all the weather weenies watching at home. So we've got a big storm system up to the north. Okay, it's actually out of picture. It's up towards the Great Lakes. But trailing behind it, we've got this cold front. That cold front is not our storm system. Behind it, we've got another area of low pressure that's just starting to develop here. This is over the Panhandle. This just came in from New Mexico. And with it, now we're starting to get the development of a cold front. So it's a secondary frontal system that is going to push in our direction here as we go through the overnight. Traditionally speaking, with these strong developing systems, the closer you are to that area of low pressure, the better the potential for severe weather. So that's what we've got in play for tonight. And also in the upper levels of the atmosphere, you've got the jet stream dipping right over that area of low pressure where it's forming there. So at the surface, you've got the winds coming in from this direction, and then above, up in the atmosphere, you have the winds moving in this direction, right? So you've got the winds crossing with height. So as you go up in the atmosphere, the winds cross. That's the kind of wind change that leads to rotation or spin in the atmosphere, and that's where the tornado threat comes into place. So that's why we're concerned about it tonight, and that's why the National Weather Service, the Storm Prediction Center, has issued that tornado watch. Again, Washington, Grimes, Walker counties, you've got that tornado watch in effect until midnight. All right, that's what we've got for you. We covered a lot of ground tonight. We're going to be doing more of these again as we go through the evening, as we go into the overnight, as these storms move through the area. Any warnings that pop up, we will be on YouTube, on digital with, but of course, if there's any tornado warnings, we will be on your TV, keeping you safe through the entire thing. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Have a quiet night, hopefully, and we'll see you soon.